Hey guys, here's my first vlog. I'm a fucking gay guy. Anyway.
All right. First dump of the day. See if this gun runs. Y'all good? I'd say it runs. Cool. Okay, this is the AC Unity mag. It doesn't like the WBP bolt carrier. It's kind of sticky, so we'll see if it runs. All right. Good? Good to go. Can I get another mag, please? Thank you.
Right here.
Oh yeah, no mag.
Yeah, I grabbed a couple.
Okay, cool.
There's Storm right next to me. Popping my cherry in 3, 2, 1. That's awesome. Hell yeah, brother! They got a GoPro out. Put on the glasses.
Yeehaw, brother.
Ready?
Yep. All right, first 14 mags. We ripped one rim of Wolf steel case, which I've had happen before. We had one dud of the Wolf stuff. And I have Santa's little helper here. Mags. All right, we just passed 2,700 rounds. We're gonna keep going. It's a beautiful day out here, and no malfunctions so far other than minor ammo stuff with known bad ammo. So let's keep going.
Y'all ready?
Check out this one.
So we just fixed the drop-in. We're gonna see if it runs and try and get this thing over the 5,000 finish line.
Ready?
All right, let's go.
It's locked. Can't find the hole. Story of my life. Oh, wait, 40.
Oh, there goes my spring. All right, that was my little ghetto fix. Let's see if it keeps running. Okay, we're getting hammer follows because this has a drop-in auto sear that's not fully developed. And it's kind of given up now that we're at like 5,000 rounds. Just gotta limp it through. It's more of a test of the gun than the sear. That was steep.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Screwing up on camera. More mag and then we're done. Ow. Oh, look at that. Get that on camera, please. My arm. Look at that. I touched it with the brake.
I see it.
Alrighty, last one. See if we can limp it through. There we go. That was it. Whew. Parts seem to be holding up fine, other than the drop-in. We'll get her fixed. Cool.
Clear. Ready?
Yeah. Direct hit. Who says AKs aren't accurate? Look at that.
Oh.
Look at this nicely, freshly tenderized dirt from, 5,000 rounds.
Core sampled like a motherfucker. Let's do it again.
Ready to go back in service.
Take a core sample with that?
Oh, it's core sampled.
Yeah. Got a nice bore obstruction in there.
One more for science?
Let's do it. A challenger has appeared. Beautiful. What does it taste like?
Definitely not breast milk.
Ah. Oh, you gonna show me the rear sight? Look at that.
I just like just up here.
Here, I have an idea. Let me throw it from the
Beautiful.
barrel end.
Oh yeah, it's fine, dude. We're good,
Let me
dude.
go barrel end.
Okay.
Not from the stock, so we get to see how dull the barrel is.
Yeah, we spent 15 minutes doing takes of just yeeting the crank at the berm.
Perfect. Science.
You ready?
Yep. You heard the charging handle open? Y'all are good shots with these, man. Have you practiced?
Dude, all those years of throwing rocks and nothing because we were bored, it means something. Yeah, I mean, gun holds up.
I mean, I think giving it to Marines is a bigger torture test than 5,000 rounds.
Oh, wait till I fucking put it against a tree. What do you think is gonna survive first, the fucking barrel or the stock?
Oh, I think the handguards are gonna shatter.
You wanna try it?
Do it.
Ready?
Yep. All right. You want to chop down that branch below it?
Yeah,
So we can show it's an axe. There you go. Oh, there goes the stock. It's not like that was a $300 stock.
Oh shit!
I told you to.
Oh no!
Let me see it.
Tula stock, not combat rated.
Not combat rated. What they don't tell you about pretty much any Russian weapon that's man-portable is that you're not just supposed to kill the enemy with it, you're supposed to also dig your fighting positions with it.
That is going to be so fun to clean.
Very well.
Let it soak.
The Russians make a weird looking Draco.
You should send that to Trevor and be like, hey dude, oh, your AK. Good measure.
It's also a soup ladle.
You think it's ready to give back to the armorer?
Well, that chamber's clean, son. That chamber's clean.
Dirty. It's not actually dirty. I'm just a miserable fuck.
Well, here it is, 2 days later. 5,000 rounds, some corrosive ammo, a whole lot of water dunking. Just let it sit because I got busy and lazy. See if I can get the camera to focus. I don't know, it looks focused, hopefully it is. Go nice and rusty. Firing pin still moves freely. Weirdly enough, the booster came off by hand. I'm guessing because of all the water quenching, that probably helped break stuff loose. And I chrome lined the threads on these. The originals do not have the threads chrome lined, or at least none of the ones I've had access to. So those two together probably helped make the threads break loose a lot easier than typical. You can see the drop-in auto sear down in there. Spring's kind of popping out. It's kind of giving up the ghost. I'll do a video on the drop-in autos here some other time, but yep, I'm gonna tear this thing down and give it a scrub, and then just to get all the rust out of there, and then show all the wear and gauging and all that. All right, so let's do a quick visual inspection. Cam groove looks good. Usually, if you have the bolt rotating too early or too late, this edge here will be peened over and smushed off, which is not the case. Hopefully you can see the carrier tail. Come on, there we go. Carrier tail, very, very light peening on the edges. That's about it. Totally normal for a full auto AK to get a little bit of peening and then stop, which is what this seems to have done. You can see the WBP zinc plating held up pretty well. There's some areas where it's black now and it won't scrub off, so I'm wondering if we got through the zinc plating or if it just changed colors. Because I don't know. Anyway, piston head still has chrome all over and on the face. So carrier held up pretty good. Next up, the bolt. Very good lug contact still. I had to lap this just a teeny bit when we built it, which was really nice. You can see the cam lug. Cam lug looks good. Same as the cam groove in the carrier. This edge, this corner right here, will peen over and roll the edge over if the bolt is rotating incorrectly. Looks good. No unusual wear to report. There you go, you can see that edge I'm talking about. This is normal. If it's unhappy, that'll be all rounded off and ugly. Here's the firing pins. This one is the one that broke at 2,900 rounds. See the tip snapped off. I just hardness tested it and it came back good at 45 Rockwell C. So I'm not entirely sure why this broke. I know one other guy who broke 2 of them in 1,000 rounds in his 545. So here's another one. This is from one of my internet acquaintances. As it says, less than 1,000 rounds fired on the bolt, and this broke a firing pin as well. This issue is especially frustrating because I can't quite figure out why it's doing it. These firing pins are a weird hybrid of AKM and 74. They have an AKM shaft diameter, but a 74 tip diameter. And other than that, everything I can find on them measures fine. Like the angles are correct, the diameters are correct for their respective parent designs, the hardness is good. So I'm really not sure why they're doing this. I'm thinking it has something to do with the extra weight here and the spring-loaded. Weird things happen when you depart from standards. And here's the one that survived the rest of the test. Nothing unusual that I can spot, just rusty and dirty. Okay, front trunnion looks good. That leading edge on the trunnion there will have wear issues if the bolt's rotating incorrectly, it'll smear the corner over. There's no such issue here. Everything looks normal to me. And I can't tell if that's really dark or if it's just the camera. I'll put pictures in here, I guess. Moving on to my reproduction parts. Rear trunnion. Looks good, no denting or anything. Rivets are all holding up just fine. This leftover chunk of the broken stock. Looking good. Nothing to note on the handguard retainer. Still working fine. Gas block, absolute champ. The machine shop that makes these for me does an amazing job. But sight drum is still tight. Still, I didn't quite get all the carbon buildup off because that stuff is on there. And we still have chrome lining down in the bore. I'll have to put a picture of that in there. Detent still moves. And like I mentioned earlier, that booster came right off. Dust cover held up just fine. Cover's still rock solid on the hinge. The sight flips back and forth still just fine. You can see the cover is really sticky from all the rust down inside there. Oh yeah. Very good noises. Yeah, nothing to report there. So the gas tube is actually the one I was the most worried about, believe it or not, because I had to develop jigs to spot weld these all together, and there's no like real good guide on how to get gun strength spot welds. A lot of the spot welding guides want you to get really shallow welds so that it doesn't show cosmetically. If you're familiar with AKs, they tend to have extremely deep welds. So this thing held up just fine. You can see my tube here is actually billet steel instead of crimped, because setting up the dies to get this crimped is extremely expensive. And with billet steel here, it's still heat treated. It weighs like 1/4 of an ounce more than an original, and it doesn't show when the gun's assembled. It looks exactly the same as the original. So pretty cool little manufacturing detail there. Alright, let's check headspace. So nothing in there, moving nice and smooth. Find my gauge. There's a Climber 545 Go gauge. Drop it on in. Slight amount of drag. Perfect. And then there's a Climber 545 No Go. Does not go. It bites just a little bit, which is exactly how I like to set them. There we go. Because if you set it too tight on headspace, you will lose gassing. Rather, it behaves like losing gassing. And the CIP spec gauges are slightly tighter than Soviet spec. So if you set it where I had it there, where it just slightly drags on a Go gauge and just barely starts biting on the No-Go, it'll match the Soviet gauges. So here's a quick rundown of the most difficult part of building a WBP 545 or 556 kit. So here's a WBP front trunnion. These are an AKM front trunnion with a special bullet guide in them. And what that means in terms of building is that the magazine is in a different position. So on the AKM, the distance from here, the magazine lug, to the face is 50 millimeters, and that's the same on these WBPs. On a standard AK-74, such as this Bulgarian, it's 59 millimeters from there to there. So I can throw my Minotoyos on there. Excuse me, 49. I think I said 59. Grab a WBP. We're at, roughly 50. So what this means for the builder, so if I take a Recreator 74 receiver here, which has, I've measured it out, the magwell on this is positioned correctly relative to the front. Surplus plumb mag, just for example, you can see how far it rocks in there. That tab almost touches, which is correct because there's a plate that goes here that the tab hits. But just take a look at that, see how far in it can rock. So take that out, put a WBP in there. Put that in there. Did I miss? There we go. It stops way up there because the whole magazine is shifted 1 millimeter backwards. So how I fixed this on my test gun here is I welded up the trigger guard rivet holes and re-drilled them 1 millimeter backwards to shift the whole thing. On my past WBP builds, I would come in with the milling machine and just mill the front end, or I guess the rear end of the magazine here, which does the same thing, but it makes the mag catch fitment a little bit more finicky because this hole here is drilled relative to the back of the mag well instead of to the trigger guard, so the mag catch sits a little closer to the mag than it's supposed to. But if you weld it and re-drill further back, it works fine. The trigger guard doesn't look overly bent as well. I could have welded and moved that as well, but I wanted the grip and the trigger to have the same relationship to each other as normal. So you could also mill down this lug a millimeter to move it forward, but I would not recommend it because these are designed, like I said, with a proprietary custom bullet guide. This is not interchangeable with the AK-74. It is completely different. To account for everything being different, because the chamber on the WBP is in a different position as well. So the bullet is taking a completely different path already, but one that WBP developed to work with this, and if you change it more, I'm not sure it'll work. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of a speed run of the WBP specific differences here. All of this is going to have to be written up and put on my website because it's pretty technical, but here's the basic rundown. So number one, this is an AKM carrier. By the way, this is a 556 parts kit. The 545 ones measure out exactly the same with the exception of the bolt face diameter. So this is an AKM carrier, but the bolt stem hole is very slightly different. On an AKM, the bolt stem is roughly 11 millimeters. On this one, they're about 10. And on the AK-74, they're like 9.5. So this is in between AK-74 and AKM. What this means is if you use one of their carriers, you have to use one of their bolts, and if you use one of their bolts, you have to use one of their trunnions, because the bullet guides are different and proprietary. So, next up, the locking lugs here are about 0.5 millimeter longer than AK-74, which means that when you install this and headspace it, your chamber sits about 0.5 millimeter further forward than an AK-74. Not really a problem, just a weird fitment thing, and will lead to having to cut your handguard retainer notch on your barrel further forward if you have one that's already cut. Okay, so in summary, what's going on here is they took an AKM front trunnion, made a proprietary 545 bullet guide for it, then made a proprietary bolt and carrier. My theory is that they did this in order to make you buy all three of them to get better sales. But, you know, obviously can't confirm that. Either way, they seem to work fine. There's an important quality control issue with WBP parts when it comes to the bolt carrier. In short, the carrier rails and the axis of the piston are not machined parallel to each other all the time. There's a post from Robert Forbes up on the screen right now, and if you're not familiar, he is like the grand old man of AK building. I highly recommend reading everything he has ever said. So here's the issue I was talking about. As you try and push the carrier forward, the piston is hitting the top of the gas block. It will not go in. You can only force it in a little bit. It gets to like there. And I measured the distance between the center line of the barrel and the center line of the gas block is exactly on spec. Center line between the bolt and the rails and the carrier, everything there is correct. It's just these rails are drooped off, so the whole carrier's kicked up that way. Almost forgot. So here's a surplus 74 carrier. I think it's East German. Just to show you that, you know, the gun's not the problem. It's definitely the carrier. Here's some videos showing the piston setup on the surface plate the same way Forbes was describing. Now sweeping the indicator back and forth, the maximum tolerance allowable for this surface works out to roughly 0.02 of an inch. And as you can see on the video, we are experiencing far more than that. Okay, here's the other WBP 545. Haven't touched this one. This is out of the box. Whereas the other one I machined the stem on. This is going to be hard to film, so I apologize. So there we go. We're 0 at the front. Droops a little. Picks back up on that surface. And then it droops. So far, we're not even reading anymore. It's at least -10. So let's bring it back over there. Crank it up. Okay, re-zeroed. This is a very rough measurement, doing it with one hand for the video, so I apologize. Yeah, at least -12. I believe the tolerance is within 2 thou maximum.
Okay, with the carrier flat on the rail, and wiggling it between its wiggle range. When it's all the way up, it totally hits. When it's down, it barely hits.
Thank you for watching. If you have any more questions about WBP or Krink parts, let me know. And the Krink parts kits are available on my website.